Hello everyone. I'm sorry that I got this to you a little bit late again this week, but I'm finally getting it done. So I have two classes for you today. We are going to do reasons on the first one, which is one that you should be pretty familiar with. And then I'm just going to introduce you to the second class, and we can maybe work on reasons together tomorrow at practice. So tomorrow practice is at 6 o'clock again at the town hall. I'll send out a text, and I'll try to make sure that I text all the parents as well so that they also know this week. But we will be meeting tomorrow at 6, and we will review your reasons from the first class that we're going to do today. We will talk about the horsemanship video that I'm hoping you watched on Horse IQ. And then we will talk a little bit about the second class that I'm going to give you today. And tomorrow I'd really like to focus on the reasons format that Pam Whitfield, who's going to be working with us next weekend, that Pam Whitfield would like you to use. And I'll talk more about that tomorrow and introduce it to you. It's really kind of basically what we're already doing, but it's kind of a more formal way to do it. So I'll introduce that to you tomorrow, and that's how she'd like you to do reasons when we go to Shelley's barn next weekend. So anyway, let's get started with the first class. This is going to be a reasons class. So here we go. So this is going to be aged paint geldings. All right, are you ready? So again, this I'm just going to have you write some reasons and be ready to give them tomorrow. So here we go. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1. On to number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Okay, hopefully you were able to pause those and take some in-depth notes. One more review. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll talk about these tomorrow, how you placed them. And of course, you're going to give your reasons, and then we'll talk about them afterwards. And then we will review some of the things we hopefully learned on Horse IQ about scoring horsemanship. I hope that kind of gave you an introduction for those of you who've never done it, how to score pattern classes, so that what you're learning in the horsemanship, the details are a little bit different, but what you're learning in the horsemanship is also how to score showmanship and English equitation as well. So hopefully you had a chance to look at that. If not, you still have 24 hours. So hopefully you can do that, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And then I will introduce you to the method that Pam would like us to use, that they use in North Carolina. And of course, now that both of our senior and junior teams have been to national contests, they can attest to how well North Carolina does at this. They kind of invented the sport, really, of 4-H horse judging. So, and that's, of course, where Pam comes from, and she was one of their star judges there. So she definitely knows how to put together a set of reasons, and she certainly knows how to win a 4-H horse judging contest if that's what your goal is. So we will use that system. I'll kind of introduce it to you tomorrow. And then finally, we'll end up the evening kind of moving on to some other types of horses that we may see at the contest in a few weeks. And one of them that I think is very possible we will see is miniature horses. So at your request, I have put together a class of miniatures for you. So we will go over these at horse judging tomorrow. That'll be kind of the last thing. And then we'll do a couple more miniature classes as practice. And then at the practice that Shelley and Pam are setting up for you next weekend, they're going to have a pony class, hopefully, and then they'll have a paint class for halter. So we'll get a little bit of practice with some ponies, and they have some nice ponies there. So I think that'll be kind of fun. So here we go. Here's the miniatures. Just do the best you can. These are going to be mixed sex, I think. It looks to me like we may have 2 geldings and 2 mares. I'm not sure. But they're all aged, meaning they're over 4 years of age. So here we go. Here's number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. So I just want to say that you're going to see all different types here. There's really probably only one miniature horse in here. Probably the rest of them are just small ponies, but that's that fits into the requirements. As long as they meet a certain height requirement, they can be registered as miniature horses. So we will probably see that if we do get miniature horses at the state 4-H contest. We will probably see some actual miniature horses that have a big long pedigree, and then we might just see some very small ponies. So we're going to practice as if we're judging a 4-H miniature horse halter class. So here we go. Here's 1. And number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Okay, and I recognize, we'll go one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. I recognize that this is going to be a really difficult class to judge because we have several different types. And like I said, we have some of these are just really small ponies, and some of them are, one of them at least, is an actual miniature horse, albeit a very poor quality one. So just kind of giving you an overview. We'll talk more in depth about this tomorrow, but hopefully you picked out a top pair of 2 and 3 being your top pair, and then 1 and 4 being your bottom pair for different reasons. How you would split out 4 and 1 really depends on if you're looking for balance or confirmation. I personally would probably put the number 4 horse over the number 1 horse myself, just because there's so many confirmation flaws with horse number 1. However, I remember I said there was only 1 horse in here that actually is a miniature horse, with the rest being small ponies. This is the only actual miniature horse. The rest of these appear to me to be just really small ponies, short ponies. This horse appears to be just a regular old Welsh pony with like a foot of its legs cut off. It's very bizarre. So really actually put together quite well if you just judge up until you get to the legs. So kind of interesting, right? Like I have seen real live ponies like this before that look like somebody cut off half their legs. So what do you do with that in a class? That's kind of a tough one. So, but this is something we might see. So hopefully you put these two as your top pair. I would probably put 3 over 2. However, there are some reasons why I could see you putting 2 over 3. So this is a tougher class. The main thing for me would be that you would pick out those top 2 and the bottom 2, and then we can kind of talk tomorrow about where we would put them. See if you can talk me into switching them around from what I said. So that'll be tomorrow at 6 o'clock. We will hit those reasons really heavy, and we'll review some horsemanship stuff. So be ready to work. We've only got, 2 more practices? No, probably 1 more practice. No, 2, because we have next weekend, and then we'll probably practice 1 more time. So really just 2 more in-person practices before the state contest. So we've got a lot of work to do, but hopefully I think you guys can meet the challenge. So we will see you tomorrow night. Thanks, and have a good night.